Shalom, this is Levi Shore. Welcome back to Sweet Good Torah. So I remember back in 2003 when I just started Aisha Torah, I was in the Essentials program, and I asked Rabbi Yom Tov Glazer, the famous surfing rabbi, I asked him, can we make God laugh? And he said, that's a really interesting question, but I'm not sure because like the way I understand it is kind of the essence of comedy is that you kind of got to say something shocking. You got to say something surprising to someone, and that kind of makes them laugh. And Hashem's an infinite being; He's all knowing. How can we really make him laugh? Well, I found an amazing Gemara doing Daf Yomi last week, and it answers the question: can we make God laugh? I think you're really going to enjoy it. Let me bring it up here on the share screen, and we'll get right into it. Okay, so let's take a look here. So it's in the Gemara. It's in Bava Metzia, and it's on page 59b if you want to look it up. So the Gemara starts, it says, Zehu Tanur Shel Achnai. This was the oven. This is the wood-burning oven of the coiled snake. So Mar Rebbe Yehuda, Mar Shmuel. Rebbe Yehuda says the name of Shmuel. She says, what's the Achnai? Shehi Kifu Hu, Shehi Kifuhu Devarim Ka'achnazo. Like it's all the statements, surrounding this are like a snake. So Timuhu, and he declared, and then the Chachamim, they declared it. He declared it Tame. So Rebbe Eliezer declared this. The story is they cut the oven up into. It had this negative spiritual energy on it. They cut it up into pieces. They plastered it back with sand. Rebbe Eliezer said it was still Tame. It was still negative. Negative spiritual energy. The rabbi said it was now Tahor. It had the positive spiritual energy on it. So Tana. So it was taught. So ba'oso ayom, Heshibu Rebbe Eliezer kol teshuvo shebaolam. That on that day, and that day may be the famous day where Rabban Gamliel, the Nasi, the prince of the Sanhedrin, he was overthrown because the students didn't like his behavior to Rebbe Yeshua, and he was replaced by Rebbe Elazar ben Azariah, who was only 18 years old, but he said he looked like a 7-year-old man. He felt like a 7-year-old man. So that is called usually generally on that day. So Heishi, or it could just be a different day, sorry, but it may be that day. So Rebbe Eliezer, he gave all the answers in the world, velo kiblu heimenu, and they didn't accept his halakha that the oven was tame. They said it's still tahor. So Amar Lahem, they said, im halakha kamosi, charuv zeh yochia. And Rebbe Eliezer, he says to all the rabbis, he says, if the halakha is like me, that carob tree over there is going to prove it. So ne'ekar charuv mimakomo meya ama. And the carob tree actually gets up and it starts walking like an ent in Lord of the Rings, Lahavdil, and it just walks. It's this miracle. And Amru li ve'amri la, and some say, Arba Meos Amma. It walked either 100 Amos or walked 400 Amos. So Amrulo. So the rabbis, they say to Rebbe Eliezer, they say, Ein Mavin Raya Min Hecharuv. We don't bring proof from the carob tree. Now, what I think this is significance, the symbol of the carob tree. The carob tree, the charuv, it takes 70 years to grow. And on the Sanhedrin, there's one Nasi, there's one prince who's in charge of the Sanhedrin, and then there's 70 Zakanim, 70 elders, Talmidei Chachamim, experts, Torah scholars. And I think it's saying, if the halakha is like me, then all 70 of you, just like this carob tree, should come over to me and say the halakha is like me. But say, no, we don't take proof. Even though it's a miracle walking tree, we don't take proof from them. So then Chazar v'yamar lahem, so then he returns and he says to them, Im halakha kamosi, if the halakha is like me, Amas hamayim yochia, the canal of the water, it's going to prove it. So Chazru Amas hamayim la'achoreka, and then this canal, this stream, this river, it turned back. The water in the stream turns back. So Amru lo ein mavim raya me Amas hamayim. But no, we don't take proof from the stream. Even if the stream miraculously, turns around and goes backwards, we don't take proof. So what's the meaning of this? So the Torah is compared to the Mayim. And Rebbe Eliezer is saying, well, the halakha is flowing against me. All the Sanhedrin, the majority opinion says it flows this way, and that the oven's tahor. But if the halakha is like me and it's the other way, then the whole river, all the mayim, all the Torah goes back and flows like Rebbe Eliezer, and they still say, nope, we do not take halakhic proof from a river. even a miracle, a miraculous river. So Chazar v'yamar lahem. So he returns and he says back to them. He says, Im halakha kamosi. If the halakha is like me, kosle beisa midrash yochia. The walls of this very yeshiva, this walls of this house of study is going to prove it. So he too kosle beisa midrash lipo, and then the walls of the yeshiva started leaning to fall down. So Ga'ar Behem Rebbe Yeshua, and Rebbe Yeshua, he rebuked them. He yells at the walls. He says, Amar Lehem, he says to the walls of the yeshiva, Im Talmidei Achamim, Minatzkim Zeh Zeh Behalakha. If the great Torah scholars, if they're having a war of halakha, this one and this one, the war of halakha is going on. Atem ma tivchem. What's your nature? Your nature is not to get involved. Your job is to hold up the yeshiva, and it's our job as the Torah scholars to argue in the yeshiva what's the halakha. So do your job, walls. Stand up straight. But lo naflu mifnei kavodo shel Rebbe Yeshua. But the walls did not fall because the great kavod, the great honor due to the great Torah scholar Rebbe Yeshua. Velo zakfu. But the walls did not stand straight up again. Mifnei kavodo shel Rebbe Eliezer. But Rebbe Eliezer HaGadol, the great Rebbe Eliezer, the walls would now not stand perfectly straight again, so they kind of like lean. The Adayan Matin V'Omdin, and they kind of just were leaning. They were remaining leaning, not going to either side. So the wall stayed out of it. Then, incredible. Chazar V'Amar Lahem. So Rebbe Eliezer, he returns and he says again, Im halakha kamosi, if the halakha is like me, Min hashamayim yochia, from heaven, it's going to be proof. And Yatzasa Bas Kol V'Amra, Hashem himself, the infinite creator, our God, he sends a Bas Kol. He sends literally means the daughter of a voice, but he sends a voice from heaven, V'Amra, and the voice says, Malachem Eitzel Rebbe Eliezer. Why are you doing this, against Rebbe Eliezer? Shehalakha kamo so b'chol makom. The halakha is always, in every place, the halakha is always like the great Rebbe Eliezer HaGadol, the great Rebbe Eliezer. So Amad Rebbe Yeshua, Al Raglav Yamar, and Rebbe Yeshua, he stands up on his feet and he says, Lo b'shamayim he. And as we learn in the Torah, as Moshe Rabbeinu taught, as Moses taught us, the Torah is no longer in heaven. It's as we approach the holiday of Shavuos, on the 6th of Sivan, as we count the glorious 49 days of Zefiras Omer to the great and holy 50th night, which is the night of the holiday of Shavuos, where we receive the Torah, the Matan Torah. We receive the gift of the Torah at Har Sinai, at Mount Sinai, and the Torah now belongs to the Jewish people. Ma lo b'shamayim hi. What does this mean? The Torah is not in heaven. Amar Rebbe Yirmiyah. Rebbe Yirmiyah says, Shekavar nitna Torah mahar Sinai. He's saying to Hashem, you already gave the Torah from Mount Sinai, and ein ono mashgichin bebas kol, and we don't listen, we don't pay attention to the bas kol. Shekavar kasavta b'har Sinai, but Torah is already written in the Torah that we received in Mount Sinai. Acharei rabim lahatos. You go after the majority of the Torah sages on the Sanhedrin, and that's the halacha. The halacha is determined here on earth in the Sanhedrin. So Ashkechei Rebbe Nasan le Eliyahu. Now Rebbe Nasan was very curious, and he asked Eliyahu Hanavi, he asked Elijah the prophet. He says, Amarle, he said to Eliyahu, he said, my aved, kuchabarichu behaki shaita. What was Hashem? What was the Holy One, blessed be He? What was he doing during this time when this whole argument was going on? Amar lehem. And he says, and Eliyahu says, he says, Ga chayich. He says that Hashem laughed. Hashem laughed. And he says, Nitzchuni banai. My sons were victorious against me. Nitzchuni banai. And we see that we can make Hashem laugh. When the Jewish people uphold His Torah, when the great Talmidei Chachamim argue in the yeshivas over what the halakha will do, Hashem laughs. Because lo b'shamayim hi, Torah lo b'shamayim hi, the Torah is no longer in heaven, because Hashem gave it to Moshe Rabbeinu to bring back down to earth. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you back again soon on Sweet and Good Torah. Have a great day.